you like to introduce yourself?
Good morning. Today I'm honored to introduce you Bernhardt, and he's one of my students in human performance, and he's going to talk about the effects of beta-alanine supplementation on athletic performance.
Thank you, Dr. Cook. Hi, my name is Bernhardt. This is a review on the mechanisms of beta-alanine supplementation and its effect on sports performance. Via the International Society of Sports Nutrition Position Stand, a meta-analysis on beta-alanine. The purpose of this research was to critically examine the mechanisms of beta-alanine and its supplementation via current literature and identify the most effective approaches of beta-alanine supplementation for sports performance. A quick summary. Supplementation, Dr. Trexler and colleagues found that it should last a minimum of 4 weeks with a daily dosage of 4 to 6 grams. An additional note about that is they found that that daily dosage should be broken up into 2 to 3 different dosages throughout the day. At recommended doses, beta-alanine usage appears safe in healthy populations, with the only side effect being paresthesia, or a tingling of the skin. They did find that consistent supplementation reduced the effects of that side effect. Supplementation of beta-alanine is found to improve exercise performance in open-end tasks for time to exhaustion, in tasks lasting 1 to 4 minutes in duration. My own hypothesis, the daily beta-alanine supplementation would have a positive impact on athletic performance, specifically in endurance, and resistance to fatigue would improve, but anaerobic power or strength would not be effective. The need for the meta-analysis, the current literature varied a lot, even in the literature that is referenced in this meta-analysis. Most supplemented beta-alanine for 2 to 3 weeks at max. Trexler and colleagues found that a minimum of 4 weeks was necessary in order to see significant effects on exercise performance. They sought to identify the most effective use of beta-alanine in regards to sports performance, whether that be endurance, strength, power, or skill sports. A few reviews of the literature that was referenced. Kendrick study was significant due to the conclusive evidence that beta-alanine was the rate-limiting factor for carnosine synthesis, which is important because more carnosine synthesis means more binding to extra hydrogen ions that's present in acidosis, which occurs in long-term exercise as fatigue starts to set in. Duray and colleagues elaborated on beta-alanine's role in carnosine synthesis and found significant attenuation of fatigue during exercise because of it. Sales, I thought, was significant because it elaborated on the mechanisms of acidosis, sort of built on the previous 2 pieces of literature, and identified beta-alanine as a limiting factor of carnosine synthesis, and also concluded beta-alanine's positive effect on exercise capacity and performance. The last 2, Smith, Ryan, and colleagues found beta-alanine to have no significant effect on high-velocity running capacity, lasting 2 to 5 minutes. This one was interesting to me, and felt significant due to the fact that it included high velocity or high intensity intermittent running. So in that 2 to 5 minute window, there was 20-second bouts of high intensity running and then 10 to 20 seconds of rest. And they found that anaerobic performance was insignificantly improved with the supplementation of beta-alanine. And lastly, with Kern and colleagues, they found an improvement, a significant improvement in body composition between supplementation and a placebo group with beta-alanine. However, I thought that there were some holes in the methodology of that, being a small sample size and outside variables such as diet and training regimen not being addressed. And there was insignificant statistical improvement found in anaerobic athletic performance for power. This is a chart from the meta-analysis by Trexler and colleagues, specifically regarding aerobic exercise, the top one being a bout of exercise from time to exhaustion, lasting 0 to 6 minutes, and the bottom one being much longer, lasting 8 to 25 minutes. Anything above that line on the relative effect is an improvement via supplementation. So 0 to 6 minutes, you see the majority improved with supplementation of 4 weeks or more. And then at the bottom, you see much more consistent improvement. That range tends to be the same across all of the referenced literature in the bottom one. So from there, I took that longer bouts of exercise or aerobic work tended to be more impacted by supplementation of beta-alanine. This graph was referencing anaerobic exercise, fixed endpoint exercise, which just means time to completion rather than time to exhaustion. So anything below that line of relative effect is significant for beta-alanine supplementation, and all but 1 or 2 on the very end over there were consistent in their findings of improvement in exercise performance. Just kind of building on that, the open end and the fixed end, but more so the open end task experienced an improvement in aerobic performance in comparison to placebo groups, again with 4 weeks minimum supplementation. And the improvement in tasks lasting 60 to 240 seconds was significant, but not in tasks lasting under 60 seconds, anaerobic, specifically power and strength or short-term resistance to fatigue. Acidosis is not the limiting performance factor in those short-term activities, so it would make sense as to why beta-alanine wasn't as helpful. The author reported no significant change in anaerobic power output with beta-alanine supplementation. It was only found to help with resistance to fatigue. However, supplementation of beta-alanine was found to allow subjects to tolerate higher total training volume. So in, say, a normal gym goer's routine, bodybuilders, or things similar to that nature, they may be able to tolerate higher total training volumes than without beta-alanine supplementation. However, this is sort of conflicting to me because there are going to be physiological adaptations to a strict training regimen anyway, after the first week, second week as they build on it. Significant for repeated bouts of anaerobic activity, again, the same thing. And additionally, beta-alanine reduced subjective ratings of fatigue following exercise sessions, which is similar to the first statement on the slide. Their perceived ratings of fatigue, things like RPE, is a good scale for that. Post-exercise sessions, if it's the same training regimen, it will just come easier to them as they adapt to the stimulus. In conclusion, the supplementation of beta-alanine is found to improve exercise performance via the attenuation of muscular fatigue and acidosis, and the increase in carnosine synthesis reduces the rate of accumulation of hydrogen ions, attenuating fatigue due to acidosis. Due to this, longer exercise bouts lasting 60 seconds or more, or aerobic exercise, tend to see greater improvement in performance than those lasting less than 60 seconds. And the most effective dosage is found to be 4 to 6 grams per day, split into 2 to 3 doses within a day, and consistent supplementation should be maintained for a minimum of 4 weeks. And that is all. Thank you.
Are there any questions for our speaker?
A question, what is the, I'm not going to say this correctly, but what is the either delivery or ingestion method of beta-alanine?
They tend to be mixed in supplements such as pre-workouts.
Okay.
So a lot of time they're mixed with caffeines and citrulline.
So it's, you drink it?
Yes, in a powder form.
I didn't know if it, okay, that was my question. I was like, I know this is something, but I don't know how you get it in.
Yeah, fair.
Great. Interesting.
Other questions?
This is a little off. Did Usain Bolt use this?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm sure he did at some point in his training. Yeah.
Which, so it's legal, you can use this?
Yes, absolutely. It would be an interesting note though, because he is a short-term anaerobic
Yeah.
athlete.
As he mentioned, it's mostly found in pre-workout supplements.
Okay.
Pre-workout.
Pre-workout stuff.
Not the actual race day.
Well,
Maybe.
Could be, okay.
That would be a good note.
Any more?
Anyone else?
Okay, well, let's another round of applause now.